This is your sleepless god back with what if Harry was captured as a child? Now, last time we left off, uh, Harry was basically uh, actually let me back up a couple cents. It's pretty normal Harry Potter realm. It was the good guys, the Order of the Phoenix, and the bad guys, the Voldemort and his his crew, both attacking until a gray cores came in. The gray cores are basically there's three types of cores. There's light cores, that is usually what are the Order of the Phoenix is, except two characters, Black, Harry's godfather, and Lupin. Lupin's a gray core. Black is a dark core. He's from the Black family. He's not going to be light. And the Black cores are usually part of Dumbledore's army, not Dumbledore's army, Voldemort's squad. You know, the Lucian Malfoys, uh, and those people are. That's what they usually are. And the Greys, they kind of got sick of their shit, and they're like, you guys have been fighting for centuries through all the shit, nothing got fixed. So their entire deal point is we're gonna rip everything apart. The ministry is going to be destroyed. Uh, Everyone is going to die that is light or dark, and we're going to have a gray, basically family, and we're just gonna have that. And then when we're done with this war, we're gonna build from the ground up. And how they're doing that is souls, mixing their science like and technology with magic, mixing like kind of new age technology, not really, with magic and making soul clones basically taking half someone's soul and putting into a other object and basically growing a life out of that. So you now have, instead of just one wizard, you have two now. It is they have half the amount of magic, but they still have magic. They still have a lot of magic. Uh, so that's how they started destroying the light and the gray. The light and the black, because they just had better numbers. With the blacks, with the dark cores, they had Dementors as well. So, and dark cores don't have defenses against Dementors, except Voldemort, who they fear a little bit. Uh, so that's also why they teamed up. Because like they teamed up for a couple of reasons. One, they both were going to lose, and number two, the light are getting overwhelmed by numbers, and the dark is getting overwhelmed by Dementors and other dark creatures. But same thing happened. Lily and James cut off to go to their little camp and have children. And they do have children for a little bit until the dark craze bust in. Now, you might be wondering, okay, is that it was still under this Velazlius charm, right? So was Black or Lupin? Nope, same person. Black thought it was a great strategy. It's like, I'm not, they're going to obviously think it's going to me and be targeting me. So I'm going to give it to the least person they're going to target, my friend. And him being a weak bitch coward, he went to the Greys and said, hey, you don't attack me and I get to leave, I'll tell you where the Potters are. And obviously, there's a prophecy, and they heard it was uh, that the child born from two wizards will defeat me, will destroy them, and will annihilate their entire feud with his rage and his anger. So being that it's May, they had to destroy it. So luckily enough, Dumbledore and Voldemort heard about Wormtail uh, going to this place and telling the Greys. So he's captured in prison, and they had enough time to protect Lily and James Potter, but did not have enough time to armor full up. So he did get one of the children, Percy, not Percy. Sorry, I've been fucking reading Percy Jackson. Harry, and Harry got experimented on, tortured as well. But before like he went insane and went fully, Merlin, the first magic caster, grabbed his conscience and said, "No, no, 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 no. We'll pull that back. We'll pull that back. We'll keep it. We'll keep him away from that monstrosity of torture." And basically started teaching him how to nature magic: water, fire, earth, and wind, and lightning, and metal, and all that stuff. Because he doesn't know any other practical spells. He doesn't know Avada Kedavra. He doesn't know Separate Centra. He doesn't know all these other spells that everyone knows. He doesn't know like any other spell. He only knows nature spells, because that's the only thing that he can basically master in this mind state. He escaped after he getting a bunch of souls trapped in dark souls, light souls, gray souls, souls. Sorry, I thought I said skulls. Dragon skulls, vampire souls, like thousands, werewolf souls, and they found one phoenix soul that they can put into his body. And you might think like, whoa, does that kill the phoenix? Technically, yes, it does kill a phoenix, but it's not completely dead. Its soul is not in its body, so it can't move or can't do anything, but it's still alive. It just doesn't ash. It just ages slowly. Sorry. He escapes and he just kills everyone. Every dark wizard, every gray wizard, he just massacres. And then Merlin pops up, basically like a spectral form, and gives him a broken version of Excalibur, basically like a dark blade. That's like, it kind of forms an image to his will and becomes a longsword. As he like Merlin's like, don't cause wrath, don't be angry. He just says, I am not angry, but every person that has hurt me and has cut me off from my family will feel, not my, he said wrath, but will feel the rage of everyone else in here, as he points at his soul. As that's where the last time we left off. Now let's start the video. As rumors started popping up of just a one guy army, basically what they call a destroyer. Now you got to remember, Harry's 7 at this time now, meaning Ron and Hermione are also 7. So the war has gone on longer than the first. Is this the first? Yes, this is the first Wizarding War. It has gone a lot longer because of the access of so many soldiers, because of the cutting the soul thing, cutting half the soul, and also copying half the soul. So what has been going on is the first start was just cutting half the soul, and now you have 2 wizards. Now that's dangerous, but it's not like, oh, it's not overwhelming. But now they started copying half the soul. So they started copying the full soul itself and be able to place it into a body, 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 into a body. So they kept on copying souls. And if they died, they would cut into half, because you couldn't take a full soul alive. Cut into half and make 2 wizards out of it. And they just kept on doing that. But that's when Harry pops in. Nicknamed, what should his nickname be? The Ghostly One. Because Ghostly One, the one-man army, or the Destroyer. It's those three, and the Ghostly One. He gets multiple nicknames. Uh, with his incredible magic ability, he just because he uses flames to cut out crowds. Anytime someone sneaks behind him, he uses earth magic to stab him into the stomach. He, if they run into their base with their high wards, he puts metal around them, like high densely magical metal, and he just waits until they starve, and then he comes in and he kills the rest. And he's doing this by himself. He's taking out base after base after base after base after base, even before he meets the what they're now called the Resistance. As because of the Resistant Army, the Voldemort has to change his name from Death Eaters to something else. So he decides what he decides. He calls them the Knights. Dumbledore doesn't have to change his name. Come on. The Order of the Phoenix, that's badass as shit. So he keeps, but the Order of the Phoenix and the Knights are now teamed up. So like Bellatrix with his cousin, with her cousin Black, Lucius Malfoy with a couple werewolves, and Greyback. Greyback's on their team because Greyback has restrictions, obviously, but he's obviously a follower. He cannot do much by himself. He calls himself a pack leader, but he can't get as much property, much people to get to without Voldemort holding his hand. He is allowed to capture and to turn 3 people and not children. He is away from the children completely. But it seems like Greyback is becoming unloyal, as that's when Voldemort deals with him and then puts some other pack leader up there. A criminal werewolf who's been holding on to his senses for a while and whose his only restrictions on his body is that he has lycanthropy. We know him, we love him. He's, what is his name? Oops, brain fart. Lupin. Lupin becomes the new pack leader, becomes the new werewolf. Now, a couple things are changed. Number one, because of the grouping between the light and the dark, lycanthropy has been cured. They figured out a cure for lycanthropy. So, said if it's a, also they found like when they raided the bases, they found books that were researching lycanthropy and the potion that could cure lycanthropy. So a mass production of that has happened, and a lot of the werewolves on the front line has been cured of lycanthropy, but it's changed. Now, they do not have to forcefully change. They can change on their own. They always keep their senses. They do not like lose their senses if they don't take a certain potion. They also gain a supernatural howl, basically sound howl that can cut down trees. And just like with monsters itself, they have a set of humans that can control the amount of magic they use at times. With magical monsters like phoenixes, dragons, and now and all those people, they use it all at once. It's not like it's not a stamina thing. It's just one single blast. But with Harry just destroying, and anytime they die, because of the knowledge he knows, he takes their souls too, so they can't copy souls. And he starts just shoving them in his body. And if you remember correctly, souls are the power of magic, is where the magic is held. So his growth of magic keeps on increasing. That means he can take out more and more bases as he's go. As he finally meet up with Voldemort, Dumbledore, Sirius Black, and Lucius Malfoy. As they heard of a base up north into like up north, like by itself, and they were going to rush to attack it. As they got there, it was already in flames, as everyone on the ground was already dead. Like you saw sometimes with earth pitchforks, almost like with their like stomachs shoved in, and they're just bodies laying the ground. As Voldemort looks at this and kind of smiles a little bit, not this like Dumbledore like feels this was not this wasn't wrath based. This is what anger based. This is way too controlled for anger. This is what like everything needs to die. It was strategy based, plus a little bit, just a little bit of malice, just a malice content. I know that might be like just, but like underneath the cover of strategy and performance, it was malice. Emotion wasn't controlling him, but he did use his anger, his rage, and his like agility to use that to push himself to do this stuff. But as Voldemort flies down to meet this boy, he looked at his eyes, as his eyes are just red. He's wearing a cloak that's covering most of his face, but with his stature and height, he knows he's not old. He's definitely not old, and shouldn't be able to do this type of magic. As Voldemort says, "Boy," sorry, I have to do it. He says, "This is incredible type of magic you have, but what type of magic can make a man become a monster like you?" As he looks around, as he sees like burnt flesh and lightning scars, because like if he's single dueling with someone, he uses lightning magic because it's quick and it's also instant death. It's like the Vada Kedavra curse, but because it just stops the heart. Same with wind magic. It's invisible, number one, and it's hard to counter. It's hard to counter. It can still be blocked, but it's hard to counter. If you can't see something, it's hard to counter. As he says, as like Sirius comes down and he starts, like besetting the battlefield itself, knowing that now everyone is dead, knowing that like everyone should be perished. And he's, as Voldemort says, "Why don't you come on our side? Having a group around you will be fun. We could even give you maybe a teacher or something." As you see Harry look over and he said, "I already had a teacher, and he let me do this." He's like, "We can have another one." And he says, "My teacher is pain." This is, he points to the like open battlefield, and he still has his sword in his hand as well. As he points with the sword, "This is my teacher. This is my," and these, and he points to the dead bodies, "are my students." As he puts the sword away, as he says, "I will join up," as he starts walking, "but I will not be part of a group. I will be by myself, and I will only be commanded by no one. I will listen, but I will not agree. I will not say I will agree completely. But if I am out-reasoned with, I will not, and I mean by this by the most highest respect, I will not deny you. You have more time on your hands, maybe." as he grabs two other wands as he puts it into his pouch, because he has so much magic, the wands itself break under his magical control. So every time he goes out to fight, he has to grab more and more wands and more uh like things to like fight with, like armor and pieces like that, because his body and his, especially not his body but his clothes can't handle the strain that he's putting on him, because he's like he's 1,000 monsters in one, he's 1,000 humans in one, and he's like just a guerrilla warfare demon. As he looks to Voldemort's face, as Voldemort's taller than him, but Voldemort feels short. This is the first time ever Voldemort feels like there's only two people in this world right now that Voldemort believes that can make Voldemort quiver a little bit, make Voldemort question if he could beat him. And that is obviously, with no matter of a doubt, forgot name again. Gosh dang, I need to stop doing that. Dumbledore. Dumbledore, he questions every day that he can maybe beat him. Because like he might be old, but old Dumby, a man can crush him. As Dumbledore like walks up, same with Lucius. As this boy, he seems like even his magical presence alone, the amount of magic in his being after doing this, burning down an entire, ripping off castle walls, burning down places, killing hundreds, he still feels like he's riveting with magic. As Dumbledore looks at Harry, as he felt the magical presence, but he goes deeper than that. He goes deeper than the magic. As he feels the souls, the crying a little bit, as he feels like, because magic alone, like you can sense it and you can figure out how big you are, but the souls itself, you can feel them, as you can hear them. As with Dumbledore keen eye, he knows this boy needs something. As this is where we're going to leave it off here. Hope you guys liked the video. Goodbye.